Greetings, ladies and gentlefish, and welcome to another pair of subscriber replays. This time we're concentrating on the big fat fatties of Tier 8. So, our first replay is courtesy of Isla Jutilainen. I apologise if I've mispronounced that, Isla, I'm so sorry. Who is on the EU server, someone that I know myself, and they also post on the EU forums, and he is driving the Tier 8 Japanese heavy tank. So the Tier sort of 5 and 6 Japanese heavies tend to get quite a lot of attention because, well, certainly up until relatively recently, they were really powerful. They have apparently been nerfed a bit, though I haven't tried them after the nerf. The Oho here at Tier 8 tends to get a little overlooked by some, but I know there are plenty of people out there who really, really like this tank. And in fact, next to Isla here, we can see an Allies Oni. And that, of course, being the Tier 7. Now, the thing with the Oho is the gun selection, well, it's considered by some people to be a bit naff. You have a choice between, I think it's a 100mm gun or 105mm gun or something like that. That has about 215, 220 penetration with no premium rounds. And then you have the same 15cm derp gun that you could have used at Tier 6. And that's actually, as far as I can make out, the gun that Isla is using here. And you can see that he has preloaded high explosive. Isla is, of course, top tier here on El Haluf. And here are some victims coming around the corner. Now, the Oho, as far as I can work out, like the Oni, gets kind of dubious gun depression. The Tier 5, the Tier 6, the Tier 9 and the Tier 10 on this line get pretty good gun depression. Very good. But the Tier 7 and 8, not so much. They have those kind of little boob turrets at the front, preventing the gun from pointing down too much. Now, the upside of using the howitzer here, of course, is that you can damage anything you point the gun at without having to aim too much for things like weak spots. The downside, of course, is that your realistic DPM is kinda on the naff side. Hello, Mr. WZ131. How are you today? I think you're tracked. Bye-bye! And that's, of course, what 15cm HE shells do to light tanks. Anyway. So it's a bit of a trade-off. Now, the Oho does get very good frontal armor. Well, I say very good. It gets very good frontal armor when it's top tier. But as is true of many of these tanks, when they're not top tier, the armor starts looking a little bit less impressive. I mean, I can't actually remember the raw thickness of the armor here. I haven't played this tank myself. But I imagine that tier 10s would be able to go through without too much problem. Now, that was a little bit unfortunate. Isla went for the shot, but the friendly IS-6 poked out just in time to eat 15cm of HE11 to the back of the turret. It was one of those awkward situations, you know, where it happened at the last minute, and so Isla didn't really have a huge amount of opportunity to rectify that. Obviously, you try and be as careful as you can, but sometimes these things will happen. So far, Isla's racked up quite a nice amount of damage, going for a shot on this IS-3, who he's been gradually derping to death. Shot after shot. Isla does take a penetration there, trying to see where it penetrated. No, not quite sure. Not sure where that went in. Possibly through the side or something. I mean, the armor on this tank is certainly not invulnerable, but it is still very, very good. Enemy Oho over there as well, and Isla gets some more bounces. And side armor of the Oho, there we go, 280 into him. So you can see the inconsistency of this gun, but I know a lot of people prefer it to the slightly dubious 100mm gun that you get. Now, I say slightly dubious, but that gun does get really, really good DPM for a Tier 8 heavy tank. About best in class tier. So there's that. T-34 here gets Tier 10 levels of penetration, but still doesn't manage to penetrate the Oho here. Enemy Oho appears to also be derping things up, and just to put a HE shell into Isla there. Isla wiggles, and oh, 93. Like I said, these guns are very inconsistent with the HE shells. Doesn't manage to kill the T-34, only takes a little bit of damage in return from the OHO, but there's another hit, bounces the T-34 though, and manages to execute the IS-3, just as a friendly KV-13 takes out the KV-2. There's only 4 of them up on this corner now. Isla has basically just tanked these guys until the friendlies could get around and do something about them. 196 leaves the T-34 on 33 health. 33. And Isla's seeing if he can try and pick up the kill on this guy. This guy is kind of a bit screwed now. It doesn't matter where he goes, he's in trouble. And indeed, Isla is able to take off his last 33 health, given how many shots Isla's put in his direction. And the fact that he's been face tanking this guy for a while, I think that's fairly well deserved. IS-6 is just around this corner. There's a Type 64 over on the other side of the map as well. Let's just speed this along a little bit, because the OHO is many things, but fast it is not. IS-6 is getting whittled down and actually gets killed. And there we go, that's the game, as the Type 64 dies as well. Let's go and have a look at those results. So, there we go. That was enough for Isla's first mark of excellence on the OHO. First class mastery, bruiser, duelist, fire for effect, shell-proof, cool-headed, and steel wall. So all of the awards for bouncing all of the things. 3,716 damage done, 3 kills, or 1,258 base experience. Top of either team by either metric. 14 shots fired, 13 hits, 13 pens. Bearing in mind, of course, with those HE shells, blowing off someone's suspension will count as a penetration. 6 splashes, 3,716 damage, as I mentioned. 20 hits received, 5 penned, 15 did not, for almost 5,000 damage blocked by his armor. A little bit of friendly damage there, but it wasn't intentional. You have to be careful, but sometimes these things happen, so there we go. And a bit of a profit into the bargain. So all things considered, a rather nice game there in the OHO. He didn't drive all over the map or anything like that, but you can't really do that with the OHO. But he did hold the enemy team in place long enough for his allies to come in and mop up. So, nicely played there. Let's go and have a look at another big fat fatty at tier 8. Alright, so we are moving from the Japanese tier 8 Behemoth to the Soviet tier 8 Behemoth. This is the old Soviet tier 8 premium heavy tank, the KV-5. This thing was replaced by the IS-6, and it looks like the IS-6 itself is going to be replaced by the KV-1 or something or other. So, this is being driven for us today by Noinu VL. I apologise if I've mispronounced any of that. We're just going to call him Noi for short. Noi is here on the Steps map. It's, however, not a tier 8 maximum game. So the previous game, the OHO was top tier. The KV-5 actually gets limited matchmaking, so despite being a tier 8 tank, it never sees tier 10 games. So this, a tier 9 game, is pretty much the worst matchmaking that the machine receives. Here on Steps, for the KV-5, the map's not great, but I guess it could be worse. There's parts where you want to use your gun depression, and the KV-5 doesn't really have gun depression. And yeah, I mean, there are some big scary guns to concern the KV-5. So the KV-5 gets really good all-round armor, but it does get a couple of very notable weak points. Most famously, the R2-D2 droid sitting on the front of the tank just there. Now, Noi's actually been spotted going over to the position that he wants to use. This is, of course, an encounter game on the map, meaning that the capture circle is over on the 9 and 0 lines. And being a fairly slow tank, he has gone over here, so he doesn't have to relocate later. Actually, I say the KV-5's fairly slow. I mean, it's not fast, but given that this is like a 150-ton tank or something stupid, it's a lot faster than you expect. It's got something like a, 1800 horsepower engine, and the top speed is actually pretty respectable. And so what you find is that whilst the KV-5 is a bit sluggish, it's not that slow per se. AMX 5100, well, at this sort of range, they can go for noise weak spots as much as they want. It doesn't mean they're going to hit them, even though it is quite large. And, of course, even if they do, Noi, at tier 8, in his KV-5, has almost 1,800 hit points. I mean, damn, there are tier 9s that wish they had that much. Anyway, it's a lot of health. to have. I mean, it's not quite as absurd as the TOG at tier 6 in terms of hit points, but it is still pretty impressive. So far, Noi has picked up his first kill on that IS, and AMX-12T on the enemy team has also gone to a better place, and Noi is just pushing around. Now, at these sort of ranges, it is very likely that people are going to be able to hit Noi's weak spot, that big R2-D2 droid, unless he hides it intelligently, which is actually what he's doing. Hello, Mr. AMX. If you look at where these weak spots are... Oh, no, it's on the other side. Never mind, forget it. I was thinking Noi was hiding it behind the ridgeline, but it's actually on the other side of the tank, so that's not really an option. Nonetheless, this AMX 5100 is getting really wrecked over, trying to shoot him, and actually dies and becomes Noi's second kill. T-54E1 manages to bounce Noi's return shot, but this guy is a bit outnumbered now, and this is really generally considered one of the main weak points of the KV-5. You have the same gun that you were using at tier 6 on the T-150. 167 pen, 300 alpha. It's really that pen that people object to. I mean, 175 pen on a tier 8 machine is not fantastic, let alone 167. But the KV-5 is very heavy and very heavily armoured, so ramming things is rather amusing, as that Panther found out to his detriment. Now, you can fire a load of APCR, of course, with the KV-5, but the APCR ammo is also not fantastic. I think he gets about 215 pen or something, 217, 219, alright. We'll get there eventually. Which is not bad, but it's premium ammo, it's definitely not great. However, Noi and his team have successfully pushed over the capture circle. There's only 4 of the enemy team left now. The scoreline is 11-1. This has been a bit of a face-kicking. RU-251 gets taken out by the T-44, and that just leaves an M4A1 Revelarice, a Jag Panther 2, and the M12 artillery piece. Noi is going for the ram here because rams in the KV-5 are invariably hilarious. So I hope he manages to get there. Noi, trundle, trundle, trundle. Do not get in the KV-5's way. And there we go. 500 damage just from a ram. A little shot into the guy to finish him off. Rams the Panther, sorry, Jag Panther 2 as well, just with that little nudge. 150 tons of Soviet steel will do that to you. And that just leaves the M12 artillery piece away to the left. Can Noi pick up the kill on this guy? No, the ST-1 does it, and that is the game. So, let's look at the results for this one. So, for Noi, that was his ace tanker, Hand of God, duelist fighter, fire for effect, shellproof, and a steel wall into the bargain. 3,686 damage done, 5 kills, 1,447 base experience, 17 shots fired, 14 hits, 11 pens for that damage count, over 2,100 damage blocked by his armour, and all round that was a bit of a face kicking. Even with a standard account, of course the KV-5 is a tier 8 premium tank, so it makes a lot of money, so that was a 59,000 credit profit. With a premium account it would have been a 96,500 credit profit. So, all things told, a really nice game there from Noi in his KV-5, and a nice fast game. Very fast indeed, so that was very impressive all over. There we go. Video, as I said, about big, fat, heavy tier 8. So I hope you guys enjoyed the games. If you did, by all means feel free to catch some of my other videos and or subscribe to my channel. And if you if you wish to send me your own replays, upload them to whatreplays.com, send me the link as a PM on YouTube and I shall take a look. They don't have to be Astounding Ace Tanker games. I try and give priority to those people who haven't been shown on the channel before, and also to tanks that haven't been shown on the channel before. So anyway, I hope you guys have fun. I wish you very happy hunting on that battlefield. Ciao, ciao.